The breakup with Tyler was messy, but the final pickup was something I never expected. When I arrived at the house, only his father, Mr. Callahan, was there to greet me. He said Tyler never deserved me, and in the quiet of their family kitchen, he proved it. This isn't just a story about moving on. It's a story about finding something better where you least expect it. A secret that stays in the family. Dear listeners, before I begin telling this complicated story of my life, I ask you to support my channel. Subscribe, leave a like, and write the comment which city you are listening from. This is very important for us. And now, enjoy listening. It had been 3 months since the breakup. My ex Tyler was finally out of town for the weekend, and he'd told me to come by and grab the last box of my things from the garage. I pulled into the gravel driveway, my heart heavy with memories I wanted to forget. I expected the house to be empty, but as I stepped onto the porch, the front door swung open. It wasn't Tyler. It was his father, Mr. Callahan. He stood there in a dark flannel shirt, his sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms that were far more rugged than his son's. "Tyler's gone, kid," he said, his voice a deep, resonant rumble that seemed to vibrate in my chest. But I told him I'd make sure you got what you came for. He didn't lead me to the garage. He stepped back, gesturing for me to enter the kitchen, the heart of the house. The smell of fresh coffee and expensive bourbon filled the air. "The boxes in the pantry," he lied, his eyes tracking me with a predatory stillness. I felt the shift in the air the moment I crossed the threshold. He didn't just close the door, he turned the deadbolt. Click. "You always were too much for my son to handle," he murmured, moving toward the kitchen island. "He never knew how to appreciate a woman like you." I reached for the pantry handle, but his hand got there first, pinning it shut. He was inches away now, his shadow completely enveloping me. "You're trembling," he noted, his voice a low, dangerous purr. I looked at the kitchen table where I used to sit for Sunday dinners with the family. Everything felt distorted. "I just want my things, Mr. Callahan," I whispered, though my body was leaning toward him. He laughed, a short, dark sound. "You came here for a box of old sweaters, but you know, you're looking for something else. Something Tyler was too weak to give you." He lifted me onto the marble countertop, the stone cold against my skin, contrasting with the heat of his palms. He pinned my wrists to the cold marble. Through the kitchen window, I could see the swing set in the backyard where Tyler and I used to sit. It felt like a lifetime ago. "My son never deserved you," he growled, his face inches from mine. "He didn't know how to keep you, but I do." He didn't ask for permission. He claimed the space Tyler had left vacant. The kitchen, the most domestic room in the house, became the site of the ultimate betrayal. I wasn't the ex anymore. I was his. In the quiet of the house, every sound was amplified. The narrator should focus on the psychological weight of being with the father in the son's home. The sensory details are key. The smell of his flannel shirt, the feeling of the heavy kitchen island beneath me, and the overwhelming power of a man who knew exactly what he was doing. I realized that everything Tyler had tried to be, his father already was. I wasn't just paying a debt. I was discovering a version of Callahan that Tyler could never reach. We moved with a frantic, desperate energy, fueled by the taboo of the situation. By the time the afternoon sun hit the kitchen tiles, the last traces of my relationship with the son had been burned away by the father. The house returned to its heavy silence. Mr. Callahan stood by the sink, calmly washing 2 glasses. As if we'd just finished a polite conversation, he handed me the box of my things. But he didn't let go of it immediately. "Tyler will be back tomorrow," he said, his eyes locking onto mine with a sharp, possessive glint. "He'll ask if he got everything you needed." "What are you going to tell him?" I looked at the box, then back at the man who had just rewritten my history. I'll tell him. I found everything I was looking for, I whispered. The story ends with me walking to my car. The box in the passenger seat. As I backed out of the driveway, I saw Mr. Callahan standing on the porch, watching me go. My phone. Bazuto. A text from Tyler. Hey, hope you got your stuff. Sorry. I wasn't there. I deleted the message, without replying. I knew I'd be back next weekend. Not for the sweaters, but for the man who finally knew what to do with me. I thought I could just walk away after the kitchen incident, but the Callahans don't let go. That is Ollie, Tyler called me, sounding more upbeat than he had in months. Hey, my dad actually suggested we have you over for Sunday dinner. He said it would be good for closure and to show there's no hard feelings. My stomach did a slow flip. I knew exactly what kind of closure Mr. Callahan had in mind. Stepping back into that house felt like walking into a crime scene. Tyler met me at the door with a clumsy hug, completely oblivious, but over his shoulder, I saw Mr. Callahan standing by the fireplace, a glass of bourbon in his hand. He didn't say a word. He just gave me a slow, predatory nod, his eyes dragging over the dress. I chose the one he knew was easy to slip out of. Welcome back, Maya, he said, his voice a low rumble that made my knees weak. I trust you've been... ... Well, we sat down at the same marble island where he'd pinned me 48 hours ago. Tyler was babbling about his new job, trying to bridge the awkwardness. He was sitting to my left, and his father was directly across from me. Halfway through the meal, I felt it. Mr. Callahan's heavy boot slid forward, pressing against my heel. I tried to pull away, but he followed, his leg pinning mine under the table while he calmly cut his steak. He was looking Tyler right in the eye, talking about family loyalty, while his foot was slowly tracing the line of my calf. Tyler got up to get another bottle of wine from the cellar. The second the basement door clicked shut, Mr. Callahan didn't hesitate. He reached across the corner of the table, his hand disappearing under the tablecloth and finding my thigh. He's so slow, isn't he? He whispered, his grip tightening as he pulled me closer to the edge of my seat. He has no idea what's happening right in front of him. I could hear Tyler's footsteps returning on the stairs. My heart was thundering. I had to stay perfectly still, a mask of innocence on my face, while the father claimed me right in the son's chair. After dinner, Mr. Callahan suggested I help him clear the dishes while Tyler set up the movie in the living room. Every time Tyler laughed at something on TV, Mr. Callahan would press me harder against the counter, his hands soapy and hot. The narrator describes the sensation of being stolen in plain sight. I was terrified of Tyler walking in, but the fear was fueling the fire. Mr. Callahan was teaching me a lesson in silence, making sure I knew that no matter who I was with, I belonged to him. By the time the dishes were dry, I was a trembling wreck, hidden behind a polite smile. The evening finally ended. Tyler walked me to my car, kissing my cheek and telling me he was glad we could be friends. I felt sick with the lie. As I started the engine, I looked up at the house. Mr. Callahan was standing in the window of the upstairs study, his silhouette dark against the light. He raised his glass to me, a silent toast to the secret we shared. I drove away, but I didn't go home. I pulled over 2 blocks away, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. My phone bazuto. Basto. It wasn't Tyler. He's going to bed now. Come to the back door in 10 minutes. I'm not finished with your closure yet. The story ends with me putting the car back in gear and turning around. I wasn't Tyler's ex anymore. I was the Callahan family's deepest, darkest secret.